you can't get over that hump from silver into gold in Rainbow Six Siege, then this video found you for the right reason. What's up guys, D-Libs here. Today we're going to be going over 10 tips to get you out of the depths of silver, which a lot of people say is actually the hardest hump to get over in ranked. I'm aiming to keep each tip nice and condensed so that I don't take up too much of your time, but I have tons and tons of other tip videos in my Rainbow Six Siege playlist that I urge you guys to go check out as well. Now without further ado, let's get started. Tip number 10, stop crouch walking around everywhere. It's super common in silver lobbies to see people just crouching around the map, and this had been given the nickname bot walking. Obviously, I'm not saying you should never crouch or anything, but stand up tall and play confidently. Tip number 9, learn positioning awareness. In silver, it's easy to be oblivious to certain cues going on, like if it's a 1v3, there's 5 seconds left to defuse the bomb and you're still holding a peek on the same door. You have to know when to be aggressive, when to be passive, or when to push forward and when to fall back based on things going on around you and what situation you're currently in. As you get better with recognizing this, your positioning will then improve. Tip number 8, stop solo queuing. Comms in this game are insanely important, and silver is basically the rank where you first learn the importance of this. Solo queuing puts you at such a disadvantage in such a team-oriented strategy game. Even if it's just one of your friends that happens to be bronze or copper, it will still help you out so much. Whenever it's possible, try to find a squad to queue with rather than soloing it. Tip number 7, be unpredictable. The main issue with silvers that I see is that they're very easy to read. This is one of the more advanced tips out of the 10, but you should find ways to catch the enemy off guard and to be deceiving. Again, a more advanced concept, but maybe you place a breaching charge on a wall outside of objective, and then you reposition to the other side of the room. Then, right when you swing the door, you blow the breach charge, and while the enemies are looking at the explosion, thinking you're coming from there, you're able to catch them off guard behind them. Little dumb things like that make you think outside of the box and stump your opponents are huge in getting over the hump. Tip number 6, play helpful operators. This tip is absolutely massive in silver. Too often I see players choosing Caveira or Nook every round they play because they're just fun solo operators, you know? And don't get me wrong, they aren't automatically bad operators to play just because, that's not what I'm saying. But you aren't bringing any useful utility to the team. Siege is a game of utility and intel, which I'm going to talk about in the next tip, and sacrificing the opportunity to play someone helpful like Mute or Thatcher with playing less useful operators will hinder you. Tip number 5, use your intel. What I mean by this is don't just throw your preparation phase drones into the objective and let them get shot. Keep your drones alive and use them throughout the round. And then on defense, use cameras and proximity alarms and things like that to get the upper hand. I know it's hard, but Siege is more than just winning gunfights. The player that takes the time to incorporate a slower playstyle while smartly using intel throughout a round will succeed tremendously more than the player who doesn't in both the short and the long run. Tip number 4, improve your game sense. Now what is game sense, you may ask? Learn the ins and outs of every map, memorize how to counter each operator to a T, take note of strategies that work when attacking or defending certain objectives, know what each operator ability does, etc. It may sound simple, but the main discrepancy between silver players versus gold players is a matter of game sense. The gold player just happens to know X map better and how to counter Y operator with Z, and so they're able to move up the ranks. That's really the main difference. Tip number 3, vary your playstyle. It's important to be able to play different operators and use different strategies as you play Siege. It's not sufficient enough to play Rook on defense every round and Sledge on attack every round. You gotta learn how to roam, how to anchor, how to be a breacher versus how to be a roam clearer. Adding that flexibility into your playstyle is gonna help you become a more versatile player. Tip number 2, you need to get in the shooting range all day, every day. It may sound cliche, but getting your aim and mechanics down are really important. Sometimes it's not even that a player has bad aim, sometimes it's just that they aren't comfortable enough with their mechanics. Putting this work in the shooting range will allow you to win more gunfights, and you'll see pretty rapid changes in your aim and your overall gunfight success as well. I'd suggest like maybe 15 minutes a day in the shooting range before you start playing, something like that, but either way you'll see a major difference if you take the time out to do this. And lastly, tip number 1 is all about mentality. I know what it's like all too well to be a silver player and getting unbelievably frustrated all the time. And on top of that, you're blaming everything and everyone around you for dying or losing a round. You gotta get past this stage. Mentality is so important in a game like Rainbow Six Siege, and constantly getting frustrated and rage quitting will not help anyone. Instead, recognize that it's okay to be critical of yourself as long as you're trying to find ways to get better, whether it be losing a gunfight, dying in a clutch situation, or whatever it may be. Siege mentality is a real thing, and it's huge for you to rank up into gold. Thank you so much for watching. Click that playlist that's on screen now for more Rainbow Six Siege tips and tricks, map callouts, site setups, spawn peaks, etc. I'm open to answering any questions you guys have for me in the comments below, so please don't hesitate to ask. And besides for that, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.